Hey, are you thinking of buying or selling in the next 3 to 6 months? Jump straight to my tailored advice, but if you're here for the big picture, let's dive in and crunch the numbers. In the world of real estate, the Bank of Canada held rates steady in their June 4th announcement, but it didn't relieve any hesitation. Inventory keeps rising, with months of inventory now at 4.4, up half a month since April. Buyers are still out there, but they're taking their sweet time. And if your home's priced too high out of the gate, they'll wait you out. Homes are still selling, just not like they were a year or two ago. So if you're thinking of making a move, here's what you need to know. 675 homes sold in May. That's not just down from last year, it's way below the 10-year average, actually down 26%. Many buyers are still sitting on the sidelines. Why? Well, there's tons of inventory hitting the market weekly. It's getting rid of that sense of urgency for buyers where homes are getting scooped up quickly. Depending on the price point that you're at, things move fast, but many things are overpriced and sitting on the market, thus feeding into the reluctance from the buyer. Also, job losses, job insecurities, political dynamics, this is all freezing decision making. This isn't just about supply and demand, it's a confidence gap. And if you're navigating this market, who you work with matters more than ever. You need a realtor who understands the region, the numbers, and the psychology behind it all, and can help you move forward with a strategy, not guesswork. As mentioned, 675 homes sold last month. That's a 9% drop from last year and over 26% below our 10-year average for May. Things are still moving along. At the end of the day, life goes on. But there's definitely a segment of the buyers that aren't as eager to jump into the market given the uncertainty that we're facing. The average sale price across all residential properties was just over $789,000. Almost identical to April, but when we break down by property type, we're seeing some big swings, especially in condos and semis. Condos are the black sheep of the group. Tons of selection, very slow moving market. If we look at months of inventory, there's 7 months, 8 months, 9 months of inventory, depending on the style of condo. So another way to look at that is like 1 out of 7, 1 out of 8, 1 out of 9 condos will sell every month. So if you're in the condo segment, pricing is vital. If you're overpriced even by 3-4%, you could be sitting on the market for half a year. Inventory is rising steadily. There were almost 1,700 new listings added in May, up slightly from last year and over 15% higher than the 10-year average. If you're a seller, it means coming out of the gate with the right agent, the right plan, and having the right pricing strategy. Okay, so the market is a bit of a mixed bag. I'm seeing half of the market is honestly out to lunch on pricing and expectations. The other half is priced right and moving along smoothly. There's despair on one end, and if you have a condo and you're trying to offload, it's very difficult to offload a condo right now. There's just too many condos, too many options for buyers. Investors are completely out of the equation. Many investors are out. The math just doesn't make sense to them. And they're no longer speculating. They're seeing that the prices aren't jumping month over month like they were in years past. So unrealistic sellers, unmotivated sellers, not to throw shade at any of the agents, but agents not being strict and stern with their clients, pricing things correctly. This is not an optimistic market where maybe we'll get this or maybe we'll get that, depending on what you have. So pricing is vital. If you're overpriced in this market, the first 30 days are vital when you're on the market. If you're overpriced even by 5%, even by 10%, depending on the price point, you're getting eyeballs at the beginning. The buyers right away are looking, okay, there's tons of options in the market. Those guys seem to be out to lunch on pricing. So all that attention and momentum that you could be having gets overlooked. Remember, buyers want to go for the easiest deal. They don't want to have to haggle with someone that's 1 week on the market, that's $100,000 overpriced on their home and try to haggle with them. They don't really have much leverage. The seller has all the advantage there. It's early in the market. They're feeling confident. They're not malleable right now to negotiate. So many of those buyers and even agents will just put those listings off on the back burner and focus on things that have been on the market longer that are priced correctly. So it's a paradox for a seller. Obviously, you want to get the maximum price, but you have to be realistic with what's happening. This has been a month and last few months, and honestly, last couple years, it's been a time of difficult conversations. If you know me, and many of you folks that are watching have dealt with me, I'm a pretty straight shooter. I don't like to pad things in velvet and candy coat things. I like to be as direct because I think that that's the best service I can give to my clients. Having a delusional or unreasonably optimistic opinion of something to the point where I'm pricing things too high, it's a disservice to my clients. If you need to make a move and you're banking on my opinion and my expertise, I have to give you it straight, because you need to make your decisions and equations and balance sheets based off of my opinion. If I'm padding that opinion too high, you're gonna be in a tough position. I don't wanna do that to people. If you look at the market, there's tons of folks that are doing that, and it becomes a monkey see, monkey do. Well, that house is overpriced. My house is nicer. I have a walkout basement. I have a better lot, whatever. My house is worth 100 grand more, 50 grand more. Or my condo is 100 square feet bigger on a higher floor, and that condo over there is priced $75,000 too much. My condo is now worth $50,000 more than that $75,000 overpriced condo. It doesn't add up. Buyers are not stupid. People are not stupid. They have access to all of the data with House Sigma, with their agents counseling them. They're not gonna be throwing themselves at you. There's no sense of urgency. So you have to be priced correctly in this market. Sellers, this is a conversation I've had all too much in the last while. It's hard. I might come off as harsh or blunt, but at the end of the day, there's no room for padding things up right now. We wanna optimize your sale to sell in a timely fashion. Well, I'm not in a rush, I hear. Well, the market doesn't care if you're in a rush. If you're gonna be too high on pricing, the market's gonna overlook you for the first month, 45 days, until you come down to a reasonable price. And then what's the other paradox then? Then the market's wondering, well, that house has been on the market for 60 days. What's wrong with that house? And now they start overanalyzing it and maybe avoiding your listing because of that. So coming out of the gate with the right plan, with the right agent in your corner, the right advice, if you wanna sell. If you don't wanna sell, then there's nothing that anybody can tell you if you don't wanna sell. You're gonna be telling yourself, hey, my house is worth 200 grand more, 100 grand more, 50 grand more, and there's nothing that anyone's gonna be able to convince you. But if you're serious about selling, listen to your agent, get someone that knows what they're doing and that can give you it straight. Buyers, you're in a beautiful position right now, although it depends on what price point you're shopping in. If you're under $1 million, things are still moving relatively quickly. Homes are still selling. Remember, when I got into the business in 2014, the average days on market was 67 days. So things took quite a long time. It was not uncommon for listings to be listed for 6 months and expire, get listed with somebody else for another 3 months, and finally sell. This was commonplace a decade ago. So we're in a market where you have lots of selection. There is no urgency because there'll be another listing in another week or two. But if you're localized and specific to a neighborhood, you've got limited options. And they're really nice neighborhoods with nice schools and nice ambiance and nice amenities. They're always gonna be desirable. So many of those homes you'll find are being priced lower. They're getting into multiple offers, and it's still status quo like it was a few years ago. It's not as crazy with the prices, but the same rules apply. Having a clean offer, again, counsel with your agent. There's obviously risks with all this, so don't do anything because I said it. Do what's right for you. Cover your butt, check with your lawyer, but coming in with a offer that's acceptable to the seller in terms of terms, conditions, and price. So these are things that when you're a seller and you're selling, you obviously want to get the highest price. You want to get a deal that's going to close. So having a pre-approval letter, having a good mortgage broker that has a good reputation that has your approval. Agents know who the real mortgage brokers are that you can hang your hat on their opinion that they're going to close for sure. There's not going to be issues with closing. And then, having conditions, okay? So do you need a mortgage condition or did you already get that figured out? Talk to your mortgage broker. Do you need an inspection? If you're not in competition, absolutely get a home inspection. You want to make sure there's no issues in the home. But if there's 10 offers on the table, then yeah, you might cover your butt and have that home inspection. But if 2 or 3 other people are coming in without conditions, it's gonna severely limit your potential to actually purchase that home. you'll cover your butt for a potential risk of maybe $10,000, but then you don't buy the house. You're at ground zero and starting all over again. And then the next house that you're gonna like, probably more than one person is gonna like that too. And here we are, it's a cycle, right? So there's risks. Talk to your agent, see what's right for you, understand that there are risks with doing that. So obviously, these are not small numbers when we're getting into issues with homes, with mold, with cracks in foundations, with structural things, with permits, things like that. You gotta make sure you're doing it right, but there's a trade-off there, right? You can cover your butt and not get the home, or you can take a little bit of risk, understanding you might have to solve a problem for $10,000 down the road. So do what's right for you. So moving into the summer, folks, historically, things tend to soften. Condos were, 7, 8, 9 months of inventory, depending on what style of condo you have. So things are moving very slowly. So I expect that will continue into the year, and it honestly might get worse. In terms of the single family stuff that's catered to families moving in for school, now's kind of the time, June, July, and then people are moving in for end of August, September. Once we get into July, things start to taper off. August, things are slower as well, the slowest time in the middle of the year. That's not to say homes aren't selling. Obviously, you have a nice home, a nice estate property, $2-3 million with a big lot, shows the best in the summer. There's lots of buyers out there for that. We're seeing homes over 2 and 3 million moving, actually, ironically, moving fairly quickly, depending on what the pricing's like. Many of them are overpriced as well. But when we're getting into the summer, things tend to soften, slow down, less transactions will happen. You guys will see in the upcoming market updates, less homes sell in the summer. Then we'll see what happens in the fall. Are we gonna have a bigger recession? Are we gonna have more unemployment? What's gonna happen with the states? All these things are questions that everyone's thinking about, and ultimately we won't know until we get there. So folks, to summarize, sellers, be smart, have the right plan, market your home correctly, price it correctly, make sure you've got the right exposure, because all of these things matter even more than they used to. When houses were selling in a week and there was 30 people lining up to buy them, it's not that market anymore. You're not getting that extra 5% that you thought. Just be smart with it if you really need to move. If you don't need to move, I don't know, why are you listing? Buyers, depending on the price point, you're a little bit relaxed on options, but you still might need to move quick if it's multiple offers. So pick your path, pick your poison. We'll see you guys next month. Take care. Peace out.